Welcome, everybody. This is Avoiding the Addiction Affliction, brought to you by Westwards Consulting, the Kenosha County Substance Use Disorder Coalition, by a grant from the state of Wisconsin's Dose Reality Real Talks, reminding you that opioids are powerful drugs and that one pill can kill. I'm Mike McGowan. This podcast will first air on Christmas Eve, a time for most of us of family and celebration, but there are people far less fortunate who will spend today without shelter, warmth, or food. My guest today never forgets about those folks. Eva Welch is one of the co-founders and directors of Street Angels. Eva is a fierce advocate, action activator, and self-described fun instigator. She studied psychology and earned her BA from Ottawa University. Shelley Saracen, Eva's other co-director, met Eva when they were first serving in a warming shelter. Together, they co-founded Street Angels and expanded their mission of feeding and assisting our neighbors without homes. Eva, thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having us.
Well, it's such a happy holidays too, but let's start with you telling us
Mhm.
about Street Angels and what led you to work with that population.
Yeah, so Street Angels is a mobile outreach organization. So all of our services that we provide are within the community on the streets. We're providing mobile outreach 2 nights a week with transport buses that are stuffed with hot meals for the moment and bag lunches for later and clothing and any supplies that you can think of that you might need to survive outside will be on those buses. And then recently we've added a shower trailer program, which we're really excited about. We just finished our first year with that. It's the Showers of Hope program. It's a 3-stall, ADA compliant mobile shower trailer, and we're out again 3 days a week with that. So we're currently boots on the ground 5 days a week, providing services to individuals who are unsheltered in our community. There are different levels or category of homelessness, if you will, and our focus is on those individuals who are in tents, under bridges, and unsheltered.
Yeah, and we should add, I should have done this in the introduction. We're talking Milwaukee, right?
Milwaukee County, yes. So
Yeah.
our services are throughout the county.
So for those of you listening in other parts of the world where it may be a little bit warmer, this gets to be quite intense. We're mild so far, but the nighttime temperatures are already below freezing.
Yeah, and unfortunately they're dropping. Warming rooms are open November 24th, which I know this will be airing Christmas Eve, but they will be opening this evening. And we're hoping, that the capacity is going to be enough for everyone in need this year, but we're also prepared to do what we have to do if not. So, yeah.
Well, how'd you get involved in this? I know I said in the introduction that you and your other co-director, Shelley, met at a warming shelter, and then you must have just brainstormed, let's do more.
Just like that, right? It all feels almost like accidental, but meant to be. Personally, I got involved because I seen a Facebook meme that talked about the importance of dry socks for individuals
Yeah.
who were outside 24/7. And that really hit me thinking like, oh gosh, imagine having to walk around all day and it's freezing cold and your socks are wet. So I decided to do a sock drive amongst my friends and family and met a group of women, very grassroots, who were cooking dinner for individuals that are experiencing unsheltered homelessness. And I decided that's where the socks should go.
Wow.
And in continuing my work with them, decided 1 month rather at that point that I wanted to really know what that was like for the individuals that were serving. What was it like to be unsheltered in the community? In January of, I believe it was 2015 or 2016, I decided that I would put myself in the shoes of those experiencing homelessness for 48 hours and actually stayed in an encampment with some folks that we were serving who I had learned to trust and just did whatever they did for that full 48 hours. And it was brutal. We've done a 48 hours of homelessness every year after that, but never again in January because it was inhumane and it was brutal. At the end of that 48 hours, instead of going home to rest and recuperate, it wouldn't stop. My heart wouldn't stop. My brain wouldn't stop. So we decided to start calling different churches and asking them would they open their space and we would provide volunteers and blankets and everything needed. But if we could at least have this space where people could sleep at night. There were other warming rooms in Milwaukee, but very few of them and very concentrated in the downtown area. So there was a church on the south side that said yes. And so we decided that we were going to do this warming room. Back then, warming rooms only opened when it was 10 degrees or below.
Wow.
So we were open not the whole winter, obviously, but on nights when lives really were in danger. And each night we were open, we had anywhere from 80 to 100 people. And then it was during that winter that Shelly came to volunteer at the warming room. And her and I were like instant friends. And we began to grow this relationship with each other over the winter, but also with individuals that we were serving. And it was from then that, yes, we decided, like, when that winter was over, okay, what else are we going to do? Because it was so simple to do what we did and save people's lives during that winter that we knew that there were things that we could continue to do to make a difference. And then that ended up looking like cooking spaghetti in my kitchen for 100 to 150 people and delivering them out of the back of Shelly's car. We started a Facebook group, and any of our friends and family or their friends and family who were interested in coming along or supporting what we were doing, they were slowly being added to that group. And 10 years later, we have over, I believe, 25 to 30,000 social media followers across our
Mhm.
platforms. We now have 2 outreach buses instead of just Shelly's car. We have the mobile shower trailer. We have 8 staff members. And usually in quote unquote business, growth is great, right? But for an organization like Street Angels, yes, we've grown a lot, but that's not really great because that kind of shows the need there, that unfortunately has been growing right along with us.
Yeah, that's interesting. I've said my whole career that I'd love to be without a job since I deal with drugs, alcohol,
Yes.
people in need. How do you mentioned the underneath street abutments and freeways, and how do you find the people that you contact and offer services to?
So it all started that winter when we had people before the warming room was closing. We had them write down where we could start meeting them on Tuesday and Thursday evenings. And that time we were going out Sundays also. So it started that way. And sadly, a lot of those locations that were given to us still remain on our route. Maybe not the same people, but those same locations. It's getting harder and harder for folks to find places to exist without them being told they have to move along. But oftentimes we will get self referrals. Individuals who are experiencing homelessness will connect with us, whether they call us, email us, or show up at one of our existing stops because somebody told them about us. We get a lot of calls from concerned community members letting us know that they see a tent somewhere or they see a certain individual at the same bus stop every single day. And we'll add those stops to our route. Some of them we're checking the spot and we don't really find anyone, but the majority of them will end up connecting with someone. And our goal is, once we connect with someone, is to stay connected with them until they're able to find a pathway to stability. A lot of times we're trying to hold their hand. We look at ourselves like an extension cord. We're connecting with the individuals who are unsheltered, and we're also connected with our partnering
Mhm.
agencies that offer things like shelter when it's available, housing when it's available, or even other resources for addiction treatment or mental health treatment, or something as simple as healthcare. The Aurora Mobile Health Clinic partners with us, and they're coming to our shower program at least once a month. So we're really looking to not only provide people, we kind of have 2 main goals. We were founded on, let's just make sure people aren't cold and hungry in our own backyards. So we're still focused on that basic needs for people, but we took it a step further when we realized that our voices held weight and we could be advocates for people. So our short-term goal is make sure people aren't hungry and freezing in our own backyard. Long term, we're looking to stay connected to people, earn their trust, grow that relationship, and get them connected to those resources that can help them end their unsheltered homelessness. It looks different for everyone.
Yeah, it must take you a little while to develop that trust. They need to see the same faces again and again to realize they're not going to be rousted.
Absolutely. Yep. We've had a lot of people that have been burned over and over, and it's real easy to just say no and not put yourself through that. But oftentimes, and there's oftentimes we meet people and they want nothing to do with us.
Yeah.
And we'll say, hey, I'm going to leave this meal here. If you want it, you can take it. And we will come back and check on them. And a lot of times that's how some of our best relationships have been formed, because then they realize after so many times of us coming back that we're doing it because we genuinely care. So
There
yeah,
are
that's definitely can take time.
There are communities, and we've read the articles and seen the stories, and every time I see it, I just shake my head. There are communities where people like you are fined, told to stop doing what you're doing, that the air grates are covered over, that the warming shelters are closed, that people don't want them in their neighborhoods. You haven't experienced that degree yet, I'm hoping.
Yes and no. On paper, all of our services look really great. I don't think we would ever not have warming rooms because of the public outcry that would cause. But yes, we have been told to stop doing what we're doing. There was actually almost every year we've been targets. I feel like we're scapegoats, right? There has to be someone to blame. One year there was a big article in the newspaper about how Street Angels was causing homelessness because we gave out tents, and the head of the downtown business district was quoted stating that people are denying shelter and housing, saying, I'm okay, Street Angels is bringing me meals and providing me a tent. And it's just so opposite because we're going to where people are and providing them with these services. We're not causing homelessness. We're not enabling people. Maybe we're enabling people to stay alive until they're able to figure out that pathway. We have heard before, like there could have been a possibility that we may be fined for giving out tents, which is, we're prepared for that. And we don't just go Oprahs of the streets, everybody gets a tent. We're actually, we're particular and we have a certain way of, especially tents, because we understand how that could cause issues. Not one person has 3 tents to store their belongings. We're not giving out 5-bedroom mansion tents. We have these little pup 1-person tents that we're providing, but we feel it's really important to be able to provide those. Obviously, it provides some sort of shelter from the elements. It provides some sort of privacy, a little bit of dignity. And until there is enough shelter space available in the county, until there is a point where Street Angels has no need to exist, we'll continue giving out tents. We've said in the past before, I think that we speak against the narrative that there is. To this day, we've been nationally celebrated for our count being the lowest, but it wasn't explained that our count of unsheltered folks. It wasn't explained that there were 300 to 400 unsheltered folks in the hotel program with the COVID funding.
Mm.
We're coming out and saying we're seeing hundreds of people a night, and then there's certain entities being celebrated nationally for quote unquote ending homelessness. Yes, there is some folks that don't like us.
The combination of what substance use disorders, mental illness, financial hardships, medical hardships, you must run into them all.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Just the cost of living. We've seen a significant increase in the number of families that we're seeing on the streets, in the number of senior citizens that we're seeing on the streets. People are choosing their car payment over their rent or mortgage payment because not only does it provide heat and
Mhm.
somewhat of a roof, it's transportation as well. So we've seen significant increases over the past 10 years. From 2022 to 2024, we recorded a 120% increase in the number of people that we were connecting with and verifying as unsheltered. So that alone goes to show you the significant increase that we're seeing each and
Well,
every year.
and there was a story about people who were choosing their car over their rent, that they were being rousted out of park and rides and whatnot. Then where do you go? They're having to make that decision.
Yep. That was last year. I believe it was last
Mm.
year. We lost connection with 80 people that we were working with and trying to support and trying to get connected. Yeah. And then people start to, when these encampments pop up, whether it's a park and ride of people who have cars or several people who are living in the same area in tents, people start to feel a sense of community that they've never felt before. And not only that, but then they're easier to connect with, to be connected to resources. So not only did we lose connection with 80 people, but how many of those case management resources lost connection with individuals? Yeah. So we're at a
And
point now where one of our friends just actually mentioned like there's nowhere to go anymore. There
mm,
used to be like he could find a spot in the woods and pop up a tent and be okay for a couple months. He's unfortunately long-term homeless on and off. And he said it's almost impossible now to find any place to actually exist. because they're just being asked to keep going, keep going.
The first time I had somebody from your organization on a couple of years ago, we talked about the drugs that were on the street because for some of the folks, it's not, they're at high risk to all sorts of different things, from fentanyl to xylazine to nitazines to all of the junk that's out there. How do you differentiate between what the needs are for those folks and who to then extension cord them into?
So yeah, we often talk about in our presentations, we provide a presentation called Getting to Know Your Neighbors Without Homes. And we often talk about the research that shows there are actually more individuals who are addicted because they're homeless versus a homeless because they're addicted, right? So we find a lot of folks that are using for coping. We find a lot of folks that are self-medicating. Folks are using to socially fit in sometimes. Oftentimes, we're not differentiating, right? Unless an individual is coming to us and saying, I need assistance and this is what I need assistance with. However, with our partners who are providing us with harm reduction supplies, we're able to figure out things that way. Before we started providing harm reduction supplies, it was very rare that anyone would tell us that they're using and what they're using. But once we were providing those harm reduction supplies, people realized that we were okay that they had a substance issue and we weren't going to judge them for it. But that also helps us decide, depending on what they're asking for with those harm reduction supplies, that kind of helps us know what their choice may be and if and when they're ready, who we might connect them with.
Do you have a kit? Do you all carry Narcan?
We
What's
do.
involved in the harm reduction kit that you have?
So we actually, with one of our partners, we provide them with certain things that they might need, hats, gloves, bottled water that we usually have abundance of, and they provide us with harm reduction kits. We also have a harm reduction partner that comes out with us twice a month, actually on the bus. So usually we're provided with kits that will have Narcan, clean needles, the needle disposable. Sometimes they vary. There could be cookers in them. Some come with condoms in them. Some come with an array of harm reduction supplies. And then we keep certain items individually that people just want. They may just want the needle disposal. We'll have that available. They
Hmm.
may just need the clean needles, so we'll have that available as well.
I have friends and who have made lunches, sandwiches for you all. What are the week to week needs? What's your inventory look like?
Lunches are always a need, right? All of our lunches for later, when we're doing outreach, we provide a hot meal for the moment and a lunch for later. All of the lunches for later are provided by community members, groups, families, individuals. You can sign up for them 50 at a time. Bottled water is huge. We have a sign up called Water Angels where people can bring cases of water. We are collecting casual clothing, jogging pants, men's jeans, women's leggings, sweatshirts, t-shirts. We actually inventory it all. It's like a third of our overall organizational budget. Shoes, casual shoes, not only the harm reduction supplies, but also first aid supplies. So again, flashlights, batteries, anything, the tents, the sleeping bags. We have groups that make us sleeping mats out of woven grocery bags. So again, it's all like camping supplies, if you can think
Mhm.
of that. We're just making sure people are staying safe from the elements. But all of that is provided by community.
I was talking to somebody who was doing it for the first time, and they thought that they were going to drop off the lunches, get on the bus with you, and go hand them out. I'm like, no,
Oh no.
people need to understand it takes a while to build up the trust with the people. You don't want just a stream of folks walking off the bus.
Yeah, which is also why we don't have people following in several cars.
Yeah.
But we do have where people are able to volunteer to come on the bus. We typically require a training that they go through, which we provide them, which we do twice a year. And then they're sent the link where they can sign up to actually, yes, come on the bus with us. We also have where people can sign up to assist us at the shower program. That doesn't require a training. So there is that opportunity. We have volunteers that come in and do things such as rolling the socks together in a pair. The only thing that we require new is socks and underwear. So we have people that will come in and we roll our sweatshirts a certain way and label them with masking tape. Every single item that goes out is typically rolled and labeled with masking tape. It makes it so much easier when you're in the back of the bus trying to find certain sizes. And again, we're serving 200 to 300 people a night in the summer. So we're looking for these little ways to make it a little quicker. So our volunteers are lifesavers. Over 12,000 hours each year are
Wow.
provided to the mission, and it's really what makes the mission tick. So yeah, there is
And
that opportunity.
and I've talked to people over the last 6 months who are in funded programs who are concerned because of the funding being stripped or taken away or grants not being available. How are you doing in that? Are you still afloat? Are you okay?
We're still afloat. We're okay. We are 100% community funded. So as far as if federal funding doesn't come through, that wouldn't necessarily affect what we have going on right now today, but it's going to be a trickle down effect
Yeah.
because if the housing funds aren't there and everyone we were serving in the past who was provided with permanent supportive housing is homeless again, it's going to double and triple our numbers. If meal sites begin to lose funding or they can't keep up with the need, that again will fall on us. But yeah, even the economy itself, right? So we're 100% community funded. We won't lose federal funding. But if the economy is not doing well, that means our funders aren't going to be doing well either, right? It's something that it's definitely been worked into this year's strategic plan to keep a focus on that, which is it's sad in a way because like our focus should be on the individuals who are needing our assistance.
I know you're just you, but if you had a magic wand, what do we need to do to ease the problem? Not probably not 100% of the people want to get into homes. That I know that there's a small percentage who this just what they choose. We've talked to them, but
Yeah.
what do we need to do to ease the problem?
This isn't a long-term solution, but obviously we need more shelter space. While yes, it's shelter, you'll hear people saying it's housing that ends homelessness. Agree 100%, but shelter ends suffering, right? In the 10 years we've been doing this work, not one shelter bed has been added to the system. So to us, that seems like a failure in that safety net, right? Obviously, we have a huge need for affordable housing. This was several years ago. Milwaukee was over 120,000 units short of affordable housing units. I can't imagine what the number is now. Or the last couple years alone, rents have doubled and tripled.
Yes.
That's a starting place. And then back to some people choosing to be homeless. Yes, that does exist, especially in cases with very high acuity mental health. But we've worked with people, and sometimes it is a convincing game where they have to understand or they have to just get really tired of the lifestyle, whether it's schizophrenia that's keeping them out there or addiction that's keep whatever it is. And I think just having people to not give up on them and not just label them as choosing this life ever because I don't know that it's a choice for many individuals. We were trying to get help for a woman that was in a really bad situation with her mental health, and she was sleeping in a snowbank during the coldest time of the year. And we were being told that there was nothing anybody could do because she was choosing to do that. And my argument was my 4-year-old grandchild at that time would also choose to do that if I allowed him to. And currently her mental health is giving her the mentality of a 4 to 5-year-old. And there was a third party chapter done on her where she was forcefully, unfortunately, brought in and given help. So I think not really using that terminology that people are choosing to be homeless is a good start of helping people realize like maybe they don't have the capacity to make that choice right now. And again, just not making that judgment and making sure that they understand they're worthy of that.
It must be gratifying, especially at this time of year when you see, and I'm sure over the years, you've had people that you no longer see because they no longer need to see you.
Yeah, it's extremely gratifying. And I think it's what keeps us going.
Mm.
This can be heavy work. And I think being able to see people come out on the other side is really what keeps our team going. And we're blessed to be able to see it often. Sometimes it'll just be like a random stop on outreach where we decide we're going to go to the gas station and grab a couple sodas or something. And somebody will run up to us like, oh, I haven't seen you guys in 2 years. And that's because I'm doing so well. And I just wanted to say thank you. And
Awesome.
yeah, it's always inspiration.
And I'll let you go with this because it's winter, right? It's winter, it's Christmas. If people want to help, what do you need? How can they help, Ava?
Yeah, so everything, all of our opportunities are listed on our website. Of course, being a nonprofit, community funded, always financial donations are welcome, but we have a little bit of support, even from sharing our social media posts is fabulous. We have items that we're always in need of that are all listed on our website. Our Amazon wish list is there. All of our volunteer opportunities are right there where you can just click and sign up. So definitely checking out our website at streetangelsmke.org if you're looking to support.
And those of you who listen and watch this on a regular basis know that we put a link to that on the podcast. Ava, most of all, thank you for your work, but I really appreciate you taking the time to be with us today. And
Absolutely.
yeah, for those of you listening, we hope that you find joy, support wherever you are. As always, we thank you for listening, watching, be safe, and if you're able, reach out to somebody in need.